Hey, what's up, Plus Soldier fam? Hashtag Plus Soldier fam shoutouts to Kai Prince, Stephen Craigie, Parker Rex, Legendary Cuber, JoJo Johnson, Young Lightning, and Nadaru SSJ, and also Quentin Sands. I don't think you guys will be on the initial team in the gameplay for today. Don't worry about it, you probably will be during the end. I think this is two different sets of gameplay kind of spliced together. I'll try to be a bit quicker on today's interesting comments. Hakai Master, who suggested the Hinata What If, asks, what is my favorite part about making What Ifs? One of my favorite things about DC and Marvel Comics is the multiverse theory that they both play under. And I feel a lot like shonen manga stories have the same capability to have those multiverses and different ideas. Like what if Goku landed in the Red Ribbon Army or something like that. So my favorite part of that, it kind of makes me feel like a comic writer in a way like that. What if Universe asks, how did I discover my thumbnail art style? And do I have suggestions on how others should do theirs? Honestly, no idea. I just kind of jumped on Pixlr, which is a really cheap like image maker site, and made a thumbnail that was straightforward as could be. I've tried to evolve that into making sure that the thumbnails kind of like subtly tell a story without giving too much away. Well, if you go back and like look at my first ever thumbnail, I'll probably have to dig it up now because I changed it. But yeah, it looks really bad. There's actually a lot of errors in it, and I finally changed it, which was really good. But like for example, like I said, I was trying to like subtly tell a story with the thumbnail. So if you look at What If Jiraiya Dr. Naruto Part 5, Tenten has a katana, and in that story, she is trained with somebody to now use a sword. Kiba has another Kiba behind him, and Akamaru on top of his head, to show that he now has shadow clones. A lot of people thought that was a mistake, but it wasn't. That was actually intentional to show that he has shadow clones. So I encourage you guys to start paying attention to my thumbnails for a little Easter egg like that from time to time. As for tips, one tip I can give is, this is pretty much first come, first serve for anybody who wants to start doing what ifs. But I was initially going to make my thumbnails to be the little title cards of Dragon Ball episodes or Naruto episodes. You know, basically just the title of the episode and then the what if title. Now, this is something Smugstick actually does. He had Dragon Ball University come in and voice the, last time on Dragon Ball Z. He has that come in, and then at the end of it, he'll put a little title in there like, Endless Youth. What if Naruto was on Team Guy? A huge new power. What if Deku was a Titan? A human evolution. What if the humans had transformations? Stuff like that. And then you just, make that your title or your thumbnail, and that'd be a pretty cool way of doing it. And I feel like you could put some like other little, basic little things on there to spruce it up. But that'd be a really cool way of doing thumbnails and just having them be the title cards that we usually see in the old anime episodes. Now, time for our what ifs. I am super excited for these. We have 3 really good what ifs today. Hydro King asks, what if the human Z fighters had transformation, and what would they be? I think you could take a really easy route on Krillin and say that he just gets Master Roshi's buff form, but let's say that he kind of incorporates that and something of his own. When he goes into his transformation, he isn't huge and the dots on his head glow, but he does gain some muscle mass. While in this form, Krillin does not speak a single word, but he attains amazing feats of durability to the extent that almost, really small ki blasts or strong punches and stuff like that, those will just bounce off his skin and do no actual harm. His flexibility and agility have also increased. He can take a ton of damage and punishment as reference to his Shaolin inspirations. We'll call this Krillin's Orin form. Yamcha is a bit tougher since he doesn't really have any special abilities or amazing origins, but let's say he gets creative. He creates a ki cloak that is basically the same thing as Naruto's one-tailed chakra cloak, but it's blue, I guess, and resembles a wolf more. In this form, all his stats are buffed, but Yamcha is easily the fastest warrior on the earth in this form, even faster than Goku when he is unweighted and going all out. The downside is the form/technique depletes Yamcha's ki quickly, but it's worth the drain considering when he is using this form, his goal is to win with overwhelming speed and power. This is the Wolf Fang armor form. Chaozu grows fangs and must close his eyes, as the light is now his weakness. But his psychic powers gain a boost, and he is able to create a small field around his body that allows him to sense and react to things faster than his sight would ever allow. And he's able to drain the ki of his opponents in battle. In a battle of attrition, Chaozu is the most dangerous fighter on Earth. This is Chaozu's Zhang Shi form. Finally, Tien. Let's lean into Hinduism and base this off the 6-armed Ashura. Tien grows 2 extra heads and 4 extra arms. All his abilities are boosted, and with this form, trying to fight him hand-to-hand or use Ki Blast is a huge mistake, as he can grapple like a demon, or Ki-Kai all your Ki Blast away very easily. Tien in this timeline has not lost the abilities of the 3-eyed people, and is the first to create his form during the 3 years of training for the 23rd tournament, which prompts the others to do the same. This is Tien's divine form. All that really changes in the tournament is that Chaozu actually beats Mercenary Tao pretty easily with his form, and Tien actually causes Goku to go all out for only a moment when he uses the Divine form. Let's say currently each form, depending on every fighter, is a 1.5 to 2 times power multiplier. Goku is still going to defeat Tien and fight Piccolo in the finals, where the match would go pretty much the exact same way, and Goku would still spare Piccolo at the end of it. Now, an actual big change is that Goku and Piccolo would train harder during the time skip, while Goku is thinking of making his own form, and Piccolo is thinking about how strong the humans had gotten, even stronger than him in some ways, and that he might need to develop his own form as well. The problem is, Goku just can't really think of anything because he feels like he has something already inside him, he just can't really pull it out yet. Most of Raditz' initial arrival goes the exact same, though when he's about to flick Krillin with his tail, Krillin actually activates his Orin form, and he's able to tank the blow and still be awake when the fight actually goes off. Raditz does notice his power rise through the scouter and scoffs that humans can transform, and so tries to destroy him, but Piccolo arrives just in time. An alliance is quickly formed, and Goku and Piccolo take off their training rates. In this timeline, Goku is at 430, Piccolo is at 422, and Krillin in Orin form is 412. The fight goes very similar to canon, but with Krillin there, Raditz has a bit more trouble. Krillin and Goku maybe fight well together, but I doubt that Piccolo syncs up with them too well, and their small power boost isn't going to be worth much. Not to mention, Krillin's Orin form will eventually time out. Knowing this, Goku gets them all to band together, and tries to get one strong combined attack that will be enough to defeat Raditz. But this is countered when Raditz used the Double Sundae. In this massive beam clash, the shockwaves are able to blow Gohan, Roshi, and Bulma, as well as all of Kame House, off its own island. Unfortunately, Krillin falls out of Orin form and passes out from ki exhaustion. From here, Goku and Piccolo defeat Raditz in the exact same way as in canon, and Piccolo still takes Gohan with him. Kami takes Goku to go and meet King Kai, and he makes it down Snake Way a bit faster and begins his training, but still tries to make his own form during this training. Piccolo leaves Gohan alone for 6 months and does his own training, and begins brainstorming what his special form could be. The humans are gathered up on Kami's lookout for training. Krillin is way more motivated because for a while, he, Piccolo, and Goku were holding their own, but his lack of ki and the drain of his Orin form had doomed them all and got Goku killed and Gohan kidnapped, so he feels very guilty in this timeline. He decides to ask Kami to show him a way to conserve his ki, and the gods suggest training in their forms to increase the stamina for them. The 4 human warriors do this, but eventually it is discovered that this is making their base power grow at a slower rate. At 6 months, they're barely half what they should be in the original timeline, when they wanted to be much more powerful than what Raditz was. This really angers Tien, who really wants to get the strongest out of everybody, but he remembers how Goku defeated King Piccolo, and decides he needs to try something drastic. He flies down to Korin's tower, and demands the Ultra Divine Water. I don't remember if anyone else drank the Ultra Divine Water but Goku, but let's say that Tien has not in this timeline, and that he drinks it here, and is bedridden for a day or so, but miraculously does survive, and decides that this was no time to hold back. Yamcha, Krillin, Chaozu also drink the water and survive themselves. After it, they are at 1200 in terms of Tien, Krillin is at 1160, Yamcha is at 962, and Chaozu is at 400, and Yajirobe says, I ain't drinking that shiz. The humans resume their training and decide to not train in their forms the entire time, but train in his base form a lot more. Gohan and Piccolo actually do begin to train together, and the Namekian hasn't found a form per se, but a new fighting style. Inspired by his fight with Great Ape Gohan, Piccolo has developed the Daya Akuma Ken, which translates to Large Demon Fist. Piccolo is able to increase the size of his limbs as he does when stretching them out, and this way he's just increasing the scale, the size of his giant form in fact. Basically, this is Luffy's Gear 3rd. Gohan is spending way too much time trying to actually learn how to fight to develop his own form, but training with a stronger Piccolo does make Gohan stronger himself. After a year, Piccolo is at 3,700, Gohan at 1,100 when calm, Tien is at 2.2k, Krillin at 2k, Yamcha at 1.8k, Chaozu is at 1,000, and Yajirobe likely doesn't get too much stronger from canon since he is pretty much just being lazy. They gear for the Saiyan fight, but I'm just going to leave the storyline off right here for now. I really did enjoy this one, so I'm hoping you guys will want to see more of it. Remember that I have to do it just say, hey, I want to see some more of that. We still have to explore like what Goku could learn, how the fight with Vegeta and Nappa goes. I'm very excited to do more of this timeline if you guys really want me to. We had 2 kings on today's podcast because Omega King 45 asks, what if Deku was a Titan shifter? Light Season 3 Part 2 spoiler here, but the name of Eren's Titan form was revealed. Skip forward like 5 seconds from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The name is actually the Attack Titan. For the sake of simplicity, we'll say that Deku and Eren have the exact same Titan form, they just don't come about the exact same way. The way Deku actually gets this ability is from the doctor who checks Deku when the manga starts. And again, light spoilers, so skip like 10 seconds ahead. 1, 2, 3. The doctor that actually examines Deku has basically been confirmed as All For One's doctor. He decides that he wants to test out a new quirk combination that All For One has bestowed upon him. Let's imagine that he is able to put this in a syringe for no reason other than just plot. While checking Deku, he actually injects him with a quirk cocktail of gigantification, regeneration, hardening, and let's say some type of combustion, because Eren sets himself on fire sometimes, and Titans are known to just give off a lot of heat. Nothing happens initially, and when the doctor is telling Inko that Deku has no quirk, the shock of the reveal and the quirk drugs running through his system and changing his body actually forces Deku into a seizure. While seizing, Deku suffers heavy memory loss and is actually able to forget the last few days, meaning he forgets the encounter with the doctor. Skip ahead like a decade, and Deku is still considered quirkless. Same stuff that happens at the start of the first manga chapter in episode 1 happens here. Sludge villain attack, but for the sake of argument, let's say that the villain's attack induces another seizure on Deku. This puts Deku in even more danger, but his brain is able to function enough to create the purpose for himself to survive. All Might appears, and he's just about to unleash a Texas Smash to save Deku, but in a flash of yellow-red lightning, it strikes where Deku is, and a huge burst of heat, wind, and force destroys the tunnel that they are under. A skeleton, then a muscular system, and then skin form, and a monstrous scream rings out around the city. By the way, basically being on top of Deku when this happens, the sludge villain has basically just died, but we're going to skip past that. All Might is quickly able to deduce that this is the same kid he was just about to save. He is no longer around anymore, that lightning hit him, and this monster has green hair like the kid has. Now, there's the thing. Deku is much more stable-minded than Eren Yeager is. I've never read Attack on Titan, so there could be, some things that have explained this, but from what the anime has shown me, it seems like Eren's clarity of mind goes hand in hand with his control over his Titan form. Let's have that be relative to here as well. So this means that Deku is not rampaging. He's doing what anyone would do if they just became a Titan out of nowhere. He's looking at his hands and down at the screaming people and the stuff that he's starting to tear apart, and he's starting to panic. As he does this, he's causing a lot of destruction by just stepping on cars or maybe bumping into buildings. Luckily, All Might uses his immense speed to get civilians out of the way and save people. While he's doing this, Mount Lady, who was shown to be in the area earlier that day, is hauling ass towards Deku. What she perceives as an out-of-control villain is about to catch her canyon kick. As her feet fly towards her, Deku is screaming in that awesome Titan roar, while waving his arms in front of him, trying to get her to stop. She was just seconds away from taking his head off, when Deku places his hands in front of his body, while thinking that he doesn't want to get hurt. Then his huge body hardens, and Mount Lady's attack is just barely able to destroy it. The crystallization keeps Deku from being too beat up, but he is knocked out of the solidified Titan body and thrown far, far away. Luckily, All Might's keen eyes and ears hear and see the kid flying and screaming away. He jumps and catches Deku, and the two land on a building just as All Might is unable to hold his muscle transformation and transforms back to his base form. Deku is basically frantic and hyperventilating. He doesn't know anything that's going on. He had a quirk. It was a dangerous quirk. All Might was here. Where did All Might go? Who is this guy? How did he even have a quirk? All these questions are just running through his head and he's discombobulated, but All Might bonks him on the head and tells him to calm down and tell him what had happened. Deku tries to do the best he can, but he has a total blank on how he even has a quirk. All Might sits and thinks for a bit, and finally Deku asks him who he is, causing All Might to confess his secret. But that wasn't really the situation at fault here. Deku was extremely dangerous in terms of his quirk. He needed to figure out how it worked and to control it as quickly as possible. Deku then explains that he has absolutely no idea how he did that, and All Might, being the hero he is, decides he wants to help. First, he tells Deku to go to a hospital and get himself tested and see exactly what his quirk was. Deku probably has to convince his mom to do this with him because he's not a adult yet, but still, whatever. So some testing goes on, and let's say it, just for the sake of it not being too convenient, it takes place over a week, and finally the doctor is able to diagnose Deku's quirk, and they name it Titan. Combined with some pretty extreme regeneration, Deku is now able to create his own giant physical body around himself and can harden and generate incredible heat with it. It's an extremely powerful quirk, but it's also extremely dangerous, and Deku is advised not to use his quirk without the proper training. Deku relates this info to All Might, who tries to think of a way for Deku to train his quirk, and I think he ends up considering Dagobah Beach, where he thinks Deku should be able to transform and be mostly alone and safe. They try this and test out Deku's actual limits, like how many times he can transform, how long he can maintain that form, and how large can he get. Can he create smaller Titan bodies? Stuff like this is the limits they're wanting to test out. They even create like sort of a mental switch, like kind of how Deku had the microwave and the egg thing. He has a, if I don't want to turn into a Titan, think about the light switch and the light. As for those limitations, let's say Deku is able to transform 3 times a day max, and he can maintain the Titan body for 10 minutes initially, though this differs depending on how big or small he wants to go with the Titan body. And regenerating body parts also causes a drain with this. Using this ability, Deku is actually able to clean Dagobah Beach really quickly, and because of this, All Might actually writes him a personal recommendation letter to UA. So he actually attends the same, special entrance exams that Todoroki and Inasa did, and he probably passes really easily and is admitted into UA. This means that when Bakugo actually sees Deku, all freaking hell breaks loose, but I'll leave this story off right here for now, just because we have another story to get to, and I don't want to go too long on this. Like I said, I really do want to continue some of these what ifs, so if you guys really like this Deku as a Titan ship story, please let me know. I will continue it as far as I can go. We went from kings to a boss. Finally, Nedra Boss asks, what if Naruto was on Team Guy? First off, I want to take the opportunity to give a shout out to a new friend of mine, Young Lightning. He's actually making this series on his own channel, so I will definitely be sure to try and remember to link him and throw an iCard in there. If I don't, he will definitely be in the description of this video. So go and check his, version of this out after the podcast. He's doing really well on it. He's actually consulting me about it sometimes, so I really do appreciate him. Please go and support the guy. He's really cool, really good series. Now, most will do the scenario and try and either age Naruto up a year or age Lee's class down 1 year. Let's just put all the Konoha 12 in Naruto's class so everything stays the exact same in the timeline and things measure up pretty well. In this timeline, there's a huge change because there are 2 dead last students with virtually the exact same scores with Rock Lee and Naruto, and 2 Rookie of the Year with nearly the exact same scores again in Sasuke and Neji. And surprise, there are 2 top Kunoichi in Sakura and Tenten. So, this year the Leaf Council decides to shake traditions up. The village wants to give Sasuke an amazing training partner to really try and nurture his precious eyes. So Kakashi Hatake would lead Sasuke and Neji, as well as Sakura Haruno. And they throw those 2 worthless dead last ninjas on a team as well. The Jinchuriki just need to grow to the extent where he could be a good weapon for them. But to help protect him, Tenten is assigned to the team as well. Team 8 and 10 are the exact same as in canon. Due to the sympathy they feel for each other, I believe that Naruto and Lee would already be best friends in this timeline. Let's say that during one of Lee's or Naruto's flashbacks, that is when these 2 meet. All that I can do, 1,000 push-ups and then I'll do 2,000 squats, they end up doing those workouts together and competing during them. This makes them a bit more physically strong when they actually graduate from the exams, and let's say that Naruto graduates the exact same way. So these 2 are pretty stacked to be on the same team together, while Tenten feels like she is doomed. Sasuke and Neji likely would have been competing this entire time during the academy, though I would imagine they would have respected each other enough as, to view them as useful shinobi to help each other grow. And Sakura probably feels like she's hit the jackpot because I imagine in this timeline that all the girls wouldn't just fawn over Sasuke, they'd probably fawn over Neji as well since he's also the top rookie. Guy meets his team and introductions take place and are virtually the same. Lee and Naruto probably both love ramen, and Guy tells them to eat at training around 9 in the morning and to eat a very big dinner because they need a lot of energy for tomorrow. When they arrive, Guy explains that they have one more test and that their final test is to try and move Guy Sensei from a single spot. The Jonin plants his feet and tells them to come at him. Both his feet had to leave the ground before noon for them to win. This also means that Guy isn't really trying to hide that they need to work together, but he isn't expecting them to want to work together too well either way. Lee and Naruto take this challenge at face value and rush Guy with their sloppy taijutsu and Naruto's shadow clones. Remember, since Naruto and Rock Lee haven't really trained with Guy yet, their taijutsu really isn't that good yet. I never got the impression that Lee's taijutsu was amazing before he met Guy, so I'm going to say that it's beforehand that his taijutsu and Naruto's are pretty much even. So Guy deflects every blow from either, one of Naruto's shadow clones or Lee, and the 2 actually end up hurting each other more than they do him, and his feet never even move a centimeter. Tenten sighs confidently as she felt this was a very simple task, and produces a kunai and actually throws it right at Guy's head. With no visible movement, Guy grabs it out of the air and throws it around the ground. Tenten gets very flustered and tries to throw more and more at higher and higher speeds, but it is the exact same result every single time. Finally, she throws a kunai with the explosive note on it, But Guy smirks and takes a very deep breath. It actually expands his chest out a lot, for he blows on the weapon. This causes it to shoot off direction and fly back towards Tenten, which she just barely dodges. Guy then boasts that his lung capacity was so amazing, he could basically do his own wind-style ninjutsu. I don't think Guy could actually do that. I think it's a really badass thing he could probably do. Now Naruto and Lee are beaten up and nearly unconscious from basically just hitting each other the entire time, and there's a huge pile of kunai and shuriken from Tenten's attempts next to Guy. Guy advises them to rethink their strategies. Tenten agrees and grabs Naruto and Lee by their collars before dragging them behind a tree for a team meeting. Looking at their time limit, they still got till noon. Tenten is the smartest and most logical of the trio, so she re-examines their task and deduces very easily that they need to work together for this. But the problem was Guy was way too powerful to move from that spot, and it was very obvious that he was not taking it easy on them. She had been going for killing blows, and Naruto and Lee weren't strong enough to do anything without going all out. She begins to rack her brain for an idea. Then Naruto hits his fist, as he has an idea. Everyone listens very closely. Why don't we just take Guy Sensei and push him somewhere else? Tenten flicks him for being dumb, but Lee likes this idea and tells Naruto to go on. As Naruto explains more and more, Tenten thinks this just may be crazy enough to work. The trio walk from behind their tree, and Guy sees the fire of youth has ignited in their hearts and gets extremely excited. And this is probably about the time where the actual Naruto theme would probably start to play. I might play it. Naruto makes that trademark hand seal and yells out Super Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu. Let's say that by draining just about every single drop of chakra he actually has, he is able to get to his post-Chunin exam training limit of 2,000. He warns Tenten and Lee that after this he will be completely useless to them because he is really tired now. The real Naruto then yells out, Squad A, in front, Squad B, in back. Then, half the clones form a line in front of Guy and the other behind his back. Because they are not actively attacking Guy, he does nothing and just allows them to continue their plan. Tenten then throws a super long line of ninja wire to Lee, who grabs it and begins to run and weave between each and every clone. He isn't as fast as he is after the first year of his training, but let's say he's still the fastest of this trio. When he is done, every single clone has ninja wire around their waist, and Lee is now leading the line of clones while Tenten takes up the caboose. Then the entire army yelled out in youth and effort as they begin to push and pull the line. I have absolutely no doubt that Guy has the core and lower body strength to completely withstand this onslaught of power, but he is amazed and laughs happily at their teamwork and their youth. He decides to lift one foot and then the other. This was worthy of a pass. Guy finally announces this, and Naruto finally passes out from chakra exhaustion, proving that he was actually just on his feet out of pure willpower. Tenten catches him as Lee is too busy crying tears of joy with the other Naruto clones as they begin to poof. Tenten can't help but think about how cool that was of Naruto. Moving on from here, I don't think Team 9 does anything but D-ranks and trains from here on out. Guy's main goal in the original timeline was to get his team trained up in their first year, so I think it'll be the same here in their first real month. Lee is a similar version of himself, but definitely stronger before he begins his training with Guy, meaning he'll be much stronger afterwards. Tenten is also a very similar version of herself, but Naruto's energy and just, affectious personality has made her become a bit more tenacious, and she trains a bit more hard, and she just has a more can-do attitude, So she's training very hard, and she can't exactly tell why, but she kind of wants to impress Naruto. Naruto would like to be trained like Lee, meaning training weights and the strong fist taijutsu style, but because Naruto can use ninjutsu, Guy likely has him test his chakra nature and maybe gets a few low rank wind ninjutsu for him to learn. Just to do something different from other people, because I know it's usually just like Air Bullet or the Great Breakthrough, let's say the two techniques he's able to learn during this 1 month is the Beast Tearing Palm and the Beast Tearing Gale Palm from the Sora character Filler. Or the filler character Sora. That's what I'm trying to say. During this, let's imagine that Team 7 passes, and at the same point, they do the Land of Waves mission, for their first D-rank mission. Neji is technically missing a year of training, but let's actually say that their competition in the academy has made them both at the level of Neji by the time the series starts proper. That makes these two monsters, and they probably get a bit stronger after the Haku and Zabuza fight. When they return from this mission, they all decide to enter the Chunin exams, and with his rival entering his whole team in the first Chunin exams after they had just started training, Guy's competitive nature forces him to also want to do the same. But I don't want to go on too long, you guys, so that'll do it for today's podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I really love these what ifs, so if you guys want to see any of these come back, I hope you'll do all 3 of these come back, to be honest. Please let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to comment your thoughts and suggestions for any other what ifs with the hashtag +UltraFam. Capital P, capital U, capital F, +UltraFam, PLUSULTRAFAM. Fam. Please join the Discord and follow me on Twitter. I'm a very fun follow. Shout out to my patrons, and be sure to take care of yourselves and always go beyond +Ultra. See you guys next time.